another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market, where today we're starting a little bit of a mini sort of special series. So, first and foremost, before I get into this episode, I want to let you know that the first of the Wild Harvest tours went off without hitch. It was last Saturday. We're out in the woods identifying wild things that you can eat, and we'll be doing it again if you're in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area at the end of this month, May. Yeah, so there's that. It'll be the fourth or slash last Saturday, depending on how the calendar lands, of this month. And you'll see information and a link to our Facebook page in this episode. So you can come out in the wilderness and hang out with me and two my colleges talking totally geeky plant fungi things. It's amazing. But anyway, this plant you see before you is very special because it is one of the plants and that I collected while we were out in the woods. Now, normally I don't approve of this, but this is on private property. I always recommend that you keep wild plants wild and don't mess with them. That said, this plant is found in lawns, backyards, gardens, all kinds of places. I believe it even has a filing on the Forage blog, but we're coming back to revisit it in video format for your enjoyment. Now, you're going, I think I've seen that before. Its scientific name is Viola odorata. Its common name is English violet. Now, the first time I encountered it, they were everywhere up north. It was called an English lawn violet in one of those little tiny golden guides for wild herbs. But it's got a bunch of names because it is so well known that it's been everywhere. It's in the Violaceae family, so it's named after itself. And the term odorata means fragrant, and they are. When they bloom in masses, it's sort of it's a sweet scent. I liken it almost to bananas, but that's not quite right. It's a scent that has historical implications, and we're going to get into that. But let's talk about the details. This plant is native to Europe and Asia. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Viola name came from Carl Linnaeus himself. As far as I can tell, it's not named after anyone. He just stuck it on there, which sometimes, though, that's how the botanists do. Anyway, native to Europe and Asia, so it is not a native, but it is hardy in USDA zones 4A through 9B. That it is considered a deciduous wildflower, though it'll crop up in lawns and the herbicide companies love to try to kill it. However, it has medicinal uses, so maybe not, guys? Ladies? Don't. Its soil pH preference is 6 to 8, and that's a generalistic bit of information that I found compiled from several credible sources. It loves compost. One of the first one of these I intentionally grew, I gave compost, and it quadrupled in size within a year. Like, it went dormant for winter. This way up in New Jersey back in the old days when I was a young lad. But anyway, it came back and tripled in size. Now, yes, it got a weird foliar disease, but it was healthy otherwise, and it was popping out the pretty flowers that it's known for. Its exposure is full sun to partial shade. Its height, noted by multiple sources, is 4 to 6 inches, and its width is 4 to 6 inches. However, I managed to get mine, I believe, up to about 8 with a spread of 10, so you never know. Now, this thing will spread by its rhizomes. It's not one of the violet family that spreads by stolons so much. It doesn't technically have stems. These leaves are coming off the rhizome on what's called petiole, which is the little, I use the term lightly, stem that attaches the leaf itself, the part we think of as a leaf, to the branch or the stem. That's called a petiole, and it's technically not quite, but sorta. Anyway, it's also known as common violet, Devon violet, florist violet, fragrant garden violet, sweet blue violet, wood violet, and I should mention this plant is culturally famous. This is the plant from the song When Doves Cry by Prince, The Ocean of Violets in Bloom. He's talking about these plants. So if you want to get your purple as heck Prince garden going, you got to start with the English lawn violet. And they self-propagate, so it's not like you just have to get it in and let it happen. That sounds dirty. Never mind. Ixnay. Anyway. So, this plant was previously known as Viola wiedemanni, but they changed it to odorata, and I honestly think that's a improvement name-wise, because odorata just rolls off the tongue. So, it spreads by seed and stolons. There are 2 sets of flowers. Now we're gonna zoom in a little bit here. Let's see if we can do that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right here, you see this little thing here? That is the second set of flowers. What will happen is it'll produce the flowers we know and love with that lovely violet color. Violets are violet, not blue. And then after that, it'll produce a second set of clone seed pods with clone seed in it. And basically, that seed is viable and it will reproduce itself, which is really cool. This plant has multiple strategies to survive and reproduce. It's no wonder it's all over the place. It's successful. Except that until now, I didn't have any at the test garden. Go figure. But in addition to that, I should mention that the seeds of violet have a sort of waxy, greasy coating that attracts ants, and ants will eat the coating off the seeds and carry them off. So technically it's tricked ants into helping it spread its seed. Yeah, plants have come up with all kinds of ways to get insects to do the do. Go figure. Now, here's the interesting thing. In terms of medicinal use, the flowers and leaves are edible. The flowers can be picked and candied, and they're a delicacy of old-timey flavor. The leaves can be cooked like spinach. However, what's interesting, the leaves also carry, when you tincture them and up the concentration, they carry a compound that's similar to salicylic acid, which is the basis, I believe, of aspirin. So this plant is a headache cure. It's not as strong as traditional pharmaceuticals, but if you want something natural that doesn't, well, have side effects, then this is probably one of your plants. As far as I know, it doesn't have side effects, though you herbalists out there can get back to me and tell me I've screwed it up or whatever. Now, in mythology, and I might point out, this is Greek myth, so if you've got children present, they might not want to hear any of the following commentary, because I'm going to probably make some inappropriate jokes. In mythology, this plant in ancient Greece was the symbol of Athens. That's not so bad, right? But also, its scent was thought to suggest sex. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. The all references talking about mythology say it just... I don't know why Greeks thought that a mildly floral banana scent meant sex. Well, I mean, whatever. Okay. The Greeks thought everything involved sex, apparently. But it gets worse. It gets worse. So, it became the emblematic flower of Aphrodite and her son Priapus. For those of you who don't know who Priapus is, I'm sure you know who Aphrodite is, because, like, one of the most famous Greek deities ever. But Priapus was her son, and let's just say the rooster did not stop crowing. The train had a lot of cars. The bridge was always allowing boats to pass. The elevator was always at the top floor. Oh my. Yeah, seriously. He's the guy from which the medical condition priapism is named, because apparently it never went down. He must have been real heck on the furnishings, just turning and knocking vases over and whatnot. But anyway, I'm going to stop there. Those of you with delicate ears can come back and listen. Anyway, in herbal medicine, this plant has been used for whooping cough, headaches, migraines, insomnia, sore throat, and epilepsy. But, that aside, ignoring all that, it's a pretty little plant that technically isn't... I mean, in the right conditions, any plant can be invasive, but generally this plant isn't all that invasive, even in optimal conditions. It tolerates and likes clayey soils, especially if they have a decent organic matter compound. I grew them up in New Jersey, so that should tell you how far north they grow, but they go further than that. And eventually, if they're fed well and taken care of, they form a nice dense mound of heart-shaped leaves, which may also tie into why it's associated with Aphrodite and her special son, number one son. But, yeah, that's basically English violets in a nutshell for you. I mean, they're a lovely plant. They're very cottage gardeny, right up there with lamb's ear, in my opinion. And yeah, they only bloom really in the spring and maybe a little bit in the fall when temperature's cool, but the foliage can't be beat, and there are cultivars like Fuji Dawn and others out there. I used to have one in the gardens called Heartthrob, where the center of the heart-shaped leaves had a almost purple-colored heart-shaped variegation. It lasted for a few years and petered out, but this plant is the for real wild deal. And so I'm expecting more. Now, the next time we go on a forage tour, hopefully if we go to the same location, I am going to take samples of its cousin and a few other things, and they'll be here in the video. So, again, there will be a link to the Wild Forage Tour. There'll be a link to our Facebook page, so you can see us be dorks in the wilderness. And if you have any comments about this video, please leave them in the comment section. If you like this video, hit like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps the channel. We're trying to grow our forage and plant, our hoard, so to speak. And of course, as always, folks, keep them growing. Thanks for watching. The Forage blog is up and running, and boy, do we have something special for you this week. Hint, you can't eat it.